Hello friends, I am Himanshu Pandey, Assistant Professor, School of Law Devi Ahilya Vishwavidyalaya, Indore. Present module Research Design containing study material on concept of research design, especially the research design for legal research resin. It contains all the aspects regarding the description, nature and kinds of research design. Contents of these modules are focused and explained by this lecture. Research design is a very important aspect and very interesting part of every research study. It contains the nature of that study, process and methods and methodology, tools and technology applied therein, steps of the research, everything covers within this concept of research design. In ordinary term, if we try to understand this concept, research design is a planning of detailed outline of any research work. That planning includes steps from the beginning to last, tools and techniques, particular pattern of working, that is method, specific scientific methods, including the formulation of hypothesis. This is all the part of research design. By this term design, we can easily understand this is the shape of research, and this shape of research can be designed in any way. This is the free wish of the researcher, but it should be objectively satisfied. The nature of research design is shaped in the light of research problem, objectives of research, purposes attached therewith and limitations of that research study. In other terms, we can understand research design, it works like a torch to the researcher to proceed in a particular direction to find out and conclude his research work. It is a mandatory step, design in every research study. Without designing this research, it is not possible to complete any research task. Basically, it is the procedural linkages of research problem with its objectives and purposes of research. The research design should be the proper in the light of the objectives of research. Basically, research designing is an independent choice of researcher. Any way he wish, he can pursue his research work. But if he is unskilled, inexperienced, in that case he cannot follow any ideal procedure which may provide him a satisfactory result. That is why it is necessary that to opt a secure way of doing any study. This is the pattern of working research. If the person is already familiar, experienced in doing research in any particular area of a study, he can follow that common pattern. But if he has no experience, no knowledge, in that case it is better to go with the experience and pattern followed by the previous researchers for researching their problem similar to present one. This research design contains the procedure and method, or in easy word we can say this is the blueprint of whole research work before going to start any task. In ordinary sense, if you proceed for any task like any picnic, planning for picnic, party, traveling, future planning, business planning or academic planning. Before executing that planning, the person draws certain sketch in his mind that how that act shall be proceeded, what steps will be followed, what means will be used and how that matter shall be reached on final stage. Or what we can say, this is the strategy before starting the task. Research design can be called as a strategy which is psychologically designed by the person for performing every step of the transaction. Similarly, in the research, this is a strategy which is designed by the researcher for performing every step of research in a certain direction. It guides the procedure. If any strategy which has already been designed, determined by the person before starting any task, in the light of that strategy, what person does? He design a blueprint. That means he describe that design in any substance, in any manner. This is a blueprint which is usually required for starting any work. This blueprint containing both the substantive steps and procedural aspect involved therewith. The substantive principle, which is the objective of research, is always kept in mind while performing the work through its procedure. This blueprint contains both basic strategy and the procedure, and in the light of strategy and procedure or the objectives of procedure, the person proceeds further and it works as a guide to researcher in the field that what shall be his further step and what step is required to be taken by him in any particular appropriate manner. Research design starts from the beginning to last. It works from the beginning, that is the formulation of research problem, till the end of the research. There is a question, dispute regarding this particular aspect, whether the research design comes into action after formulation of research problem or before. Basically, the research process starts after formulation of research problem. But another view of the scientists, this says that design means where the person apply his mind with the subject. And formulation of research problem, we find there is the involvement of the researcher in shaping the research problem. That means for the formulation of research problem, researcher has applied his mind and shaped the research problem, formulated the research problem in a certain shape. That is why on this precision, it is also said that the formulation of research problem is the part of research design. Formulation of research, any research problem itself suggests that what shall be the basic substantive next step of the researcher towards finding the research and following the procedure within the research. Basically, research design depends on following things. First is the nature of research problem, objectives of research, purposes of research and limitations of research. On these bases, objectives and purposes of research can be classified in two categories. One is substantive design and procedural design. In every research, this research design is formulated in two stages. First is substantive part and second is procedural part. In designing, the substantive part first comes. Substantive research design is the initial level of designing which ipso facto comes into shape on the basis of nature of problem, objectives of research and purposes thereof. Where researcher has no alternative choice and no interference in the proceedings in the light of the objectives. He has to proceed in the light of the objectives. According to the nature of problem, the objective of research may be descriptive, diagnostic, remedial, comparative, experimental, etc. That means substantially the researcher has to design his research process with these objectives to explore, to describe or diagnose or compare the facts or variables. Before research designing, researcher should have the experience and skill, knowledge about the steps and procedure to be followed in research. And if he has started research, he has to be vigilant at every stage of the proceeding. The process he is following during the research, he should make it confirm whether it is in conformity with the determined design or not. And the procedure followed to pursue research is significant for the objectivity of the research or not.